All right, so we're gonna get started on the second video that I promised to get out. This one's gonna be Friday's notes. So the Friday's notes was referencing angles and coterminal angles. So let me share the screen real quick. All right, so the screen is up. So for reference angles and coterminal angles, all you really gotta worry about is super important, if anything. So this is pretty important for the whole test too, or for the whole second unit. Reference angle is just an angle that's measured from the terminal side of an angle to the x-axis. Then reference angles are always less than 90 degrees and positive. So that definition might have been very confusing. But all you gotta know is whenever you have a quadrant, right? Then you're gonna have your quadrants. First thing you gotta know is what each quadrant is called. So this right here, the top right, is quad one or quadrant one. The second one is quadrant two. Bottom left one is quad three. Bottom right is quad four. And then yet you can just write one, two, three, and four like in a normal number instead of doing Roman numerals. I just do Roman numerals because that's the way that I was taught, and it's the most common way you'll see it in like math classes in general. All right. And then another thing you need to know about your quads, just super important, is that this right here, whenever we're drawing an angle, this is 0 degrees, this is 90 degrees, this is 180, and that's 270. And then again, this would be 360. All right. And then in each quad, your reference angle looks a little bit different. So in quad one, I'll draw it over here. Your reference angle, say your angle is, I'm going to draw it in different colors. So your blue is going to be your angle and your red is going to be the reference angle. So your blue, say this is your angle right here. Your reference angle is going to be the red, which is this part right here. So real quick, before going any further, your terminal sides are this right here, these two lines. Well, these are going to be your terminal sides, always. So over here, it's touching this terminal side, which is over here. So that's going to be, the right is going to be your reference angle. In quad two, again, the blue is going to be my angle. Be any angle, so it could be like further up this way or further down that way. But your reference angle is going to be touching this side all the way to the angle. Quad three, it's going to be going downwards, your angle. It could be this, could be further, bigger apart from the line, closer to the line. Doesn't really matter. Just know your reference angle is touching this line all the way to the angle. Quad four is going to look like this. The blue is going to be your angle, and the reference angle is going to be touching that terminal side. All right. And then I can give you guys like a little bit shortcuts to find your reference angle depending on which quadrant you're in. So if you're in quadrant uh one, you could just subtract by zero. Subtract your angle by zero. If you're in quad two, you're gonna subtract by 180 or 180 minus your angle. In quadrant three, just subtract by 180 again. Quadrant four, you're gonna subtract by you're gonna do 360 minus your angle or subtract by 360. If your angle is negative, it's gonna work a little bit different. So if it's negative in quad one, you're going to be adding 360. In quad two, you're going to be adding 180. Or you're gonna do what's it called? 180. You're gonna say, what am I saying? You're gonna just be adding 180. This one over here, add 180 again. And then this one, you're gonna add zero. All right. So over here, that's all we're gonna be doing. That's all we're gonna be doing, okay? So over here, They're gonna give you an angle, and then you have to determine which quadrant it is and what the reference angle is. So there's a couple steps to do it. The first step, all you gotta do is just make out a quadrant. Now, you start always right here. You always start at this 0 degrees, right? Now, your angle is 300. You got to see, is 300 bigger than 90? It's bigger than 90, so you're going to go all the way to here. Is it bigger than 180? Yes, so you're going to go all the way to here. It's bigger than 270? Yes, so you're going to go all the way here. Is it bigger than 360? No. So we just know it stops somewhere in here. And I'm just going to make it like this. Now, our degree is 300. So, or first things first, you want to do is see what quadrant you're in. So since we're in the bottom right quadrant, that's quad 4. So you're just going to write down quad 4. All right. And next thing you're gonna do is find out what your reference angle. So you take your angle. Well, first we're in quad 4, and the shortcut is you just have to subtract 360 or 360 minus your angle. So it's just gonna be 360 minus your angle of 300. And 360 minus 300 is just 60 degrees. And that there is your reference angle and you're done. So super simple. So for the next one, I'm gonna do the same thing. First thing, draw my quadrants. Second thing is I'm gonna start right here. Now, is 125 bigger than 90? Yes. Is it bigger than 180? No. So we just know it stops somewhere in here. Your angle, oh, I should have done this in blue. Is your angle. The red is your reference angle, right? This should have been the reference angle. Didn't make him. But the way to find it, again, since we're in quad 2, when you use our shortcut, we're subtracting by 180. So this is just going to be 180 minus 125. And you can put that in your calculator or just at the top of your head, which is 45. And that's your answer. But what real quick, I should have done this first, determining what quadrant it is before doing the shortcut. So since we're in the top left corner, we're in quad 2. And now we're done for sure. All right. So next one. First thing, just do your quadrants. Is 240 bigger than 90? Yes. Is it bigger than 180? Yes. Is it bigger than 270? No. So we just know that it stops right here. Your reference angle is right here. And now, since we're in the bottom left corner or the bottom left quadrant, that means we're in quad 3. So we're just going to write down quad 3. Next thing, since we're in quad 3, we're going to be subtracting by 180. So it's going to be 240 minus 180. 240 minus 180 is just 60. And that's your answer. You're done. So super simple. Since this is a lot of notes, I'm going to skip this one for now, or just for the video, because I think it's just repetitive, and you don't really see numbers bigger than 360 on the test. So you're lucky that, or you're just not going to have to worry about it on the test. So next thing that's important is the negative 300 ones. So the negative 300 ones work extremely similar. So for the negative degrees, similar. So just start by making that quadrant. Your starting point's the same, but since it's a negative degree, instead of going counterclockwise how we normally go, we're gonna go clockwise. So you start here. Is 90 bigger than is 300 bigger than 90? Yes. Is it bigger than 180? Yes. Is it bigger than 270? Yes. Is it bigger than 360? No. So we know we stop here. Your reference angle is going to be again the red. Since I'm in the top right, I'm in quad 1. So you're going to put quad 1. Now, since we're in the top right and our degree is negative, we're going to use the red instead of the blue one shortcut. So we're going to take our degree, which is negative 300, and we're going to add 360. Negative 300 plus 360 gives you 60, and that's your answer, and you're done. So super simple and easy. It's just that it may require like a little bit extra of a step, but it isn't that difficult, I would say. All right. So next thing we're going to be doing is going to be this right here. So whenever you have radians, we're just going to kind of go back to last or yesterday's or Thursday's notes, I guess you could say, where we're converting from degrees to radians. Uh, so what we're gonna do is this. So first thing you want to do is just the same thing we did. We're doing this whole thing, but there's just one extra step that's added in the beginning. And that extra step is you're gonna have to change your unit from radians to degrees. So the way we do that is we're gonna multiply by 180 over pi. So pi's cancel, so you'd be left with left 11 times 180 all over 6. And now you're just gonna do the same thing we did yesterday or did on Thursday. Just putting in your calculator. So 11 times 180 gives us 1980. I'm gonna divide that by 6, and that gives you 330. And that's your degree. Now we go straight forward to what we were doing earlier. So it's gonna be first, next thing, draw your quadrants. Now, where do you start drawing your angle? Is 330 bigger than 90? Yes. Is it bigger than 180? Yes. Is it bigger than 270? Yes. Is it bigger than 360? No. So we just know that it stops here. And then our reference angle is the red, which is the following, right? And since we're in quad, or next thing you have to do is determine what quad you're in. So you're in the bottom right, so that's quad 4. So we're just gonna put quad 4. Next thing, since we're in quad form using our shortcut, we're just gonna do subtract by 360. So it's gonna be 360 minus your degree, which is 330. And 360 minus 330 is just 30. And you're done. That's how easy it is. Uh, next thing is gonna be the bottom three. Bottom three is gonna be super simple or super similar to the one that we just did. So first thing you gotta do is change it from radians to degrees, and then the same thing we're doing where you just draw your angle, determine the quadrant you're in, and draw the or find out what the reference angle is. So for this again, so I'm just gonna do these quickly. So again, multiply by 180 over pi because you want to change it from radians to degrees. That leaves you with 5 times 180 on top, 4 on the bottom. 5 times 180 is 900. On top, you have 900 divided by 4. And you could just put that in your calculator or do that at the top of your head. Gives you 225. And then next thing is you just draw your quadrants and start drawing your angle. So is 225 bigger than 90? Yes. Is it bigger than 180? Yes. Is it bigger than 270? No. So we just know that we stop in here. All right. Next thing you do is you have to find the reference angle, which is the red. And then we use our shortcut, which is you just got to subtract by 180. So it's going to be 225 minus 180. And that gives you 45. That's your answer and you're done. So super easy. All right. Next one. Again, multiply by 180 over pi. Pi's cancel. You're left with negative 5 times 180 on top. And on the bottom, you got 6. So it's just going to be negative 5 times 180. That gives you negative 900. Divided by 6 this time. So negative 150. Now you have to draw your angle. So draw your quadrants. You start right here. Is 150 bigger than 90? Or again, we're going backwards this time because it's a negative degree. So 150 is bigger than 90. So we're going more than that. Is it bigger than 180? No. So we know we stop in this quadrant. We got to find our reference angle, which is the red. So it's just gonna be uh since you're in the bottom left corner, you're in quadrant 2, you're just gonna put down quad 2. Or quad 3, I mean. Quad 3. Now, using the shortcut, we're just gonna be adding 180. So it's just gonna be negative 150 plus 180. And that gives us 30. And that's going to be your reference. All right, bottom, last one of the bottom. It's again, you're just going to be multiplying by 180 over pi. Pi's cancel. You're left with 180 over 3. 180 divided by 3 is just 60. And then again, draw your angle. So is 60 bigger than 90? No. So you know you're stopping this quadrant. That there's going to be your quadrant. Your reference angle is going to be that red. And then since I'm in the top right quadrant, I'm just in quadrant 1. And then to find your reference angle, all you got to do is subtract by the shortcut, which in this case is 0, or you could just use some common sense. Since you're in quadrant 1, you see that the red and the black is the same. So the red's going to be the same as the black, but the black is 60, so the red is 60. Or if that was too complicated, you could just do your degree minus your shortcut of 0, and 60 minus 0 is just 60. And that's your everything. You're done. All right, so the next one is, again, super similar and easy. All you got to do is they're going to give you the angle and you're not to, or they're going to have the angle drawn and you have to determine what the angle is. So over here, they give you that from here to here, that's the reference angle. So this red part is pi over 4. So you got to determine what that is in degrees. So pi over 4 to turn into degrees is just times it by 180 over pi. Pi's are going to cancel. So you're left with 180 over 4. 180 divided by 4, it's just going to be 45. So the red is 45 degrees. And now you got to use some common sense. How many degrees are in half a circle? Just using some common sense, it's 180. So the blue is 180. We're trying to find all of the black. So all of that black angle that was drawn. So it's just going to be your blue plus your red. So it's going to be 180 plus 45. And 180 plus 45 is just 225. And that there is going to be your answer. All right. So for the next one, this next one is the easiest one out of all of them. So they tell you that your reference angle is 60 degrees. So this is 60 degrees. But if you notice, the angles kind of is drawn backwards than normal. Normally you go counterclockwise, and this one's going clockwise. So your answer, whenever you go or first things first, whenever you go counterclockwise, your angle is always negative. But if you know the reference angle is 60, then your answer is just going to be negative 60, and that's it. All right, this one over here, similar to the first one we just did, where you have, they give you that pi over 3 is the reference angle, and you got to find out what the whole thing is. So since you got to find out what this is in degrees, so pi over 3 times 180 over pi, to change it from radians to degrees. And the pi's cancel, you're left with 180 over 3, which is just, again, 60 degrees. And then got to use some common sense. How many degrees are in half a circle? 180. You add them together to find out the whole black angle. So it's just going to be 180 plus 60. And 180 plus 60 is just 240. And you're done. Or close to done, actually. That's how much the whole thing is. But since we're going counterclockwise, our answer is going to be negative, and you're done. And that's it for the front side of the notes. So we're going to move on to the back side. Back side's a lot easier. So the back side's coterminal angles. Coterminal angles are super easier to find. The way to find coterminal angles is depending if you had degrees or radians, you're going to be adding and subtracting 360 or adding and subtracting 2 pi. So I think this is a lot easier to see than to read by definition. So all you gotta do is, it's asking you to find one positive angle that is coterminal 50 degrees. So since we're asked for positive angle, we're gonna take our angle, and since it's asking for one positive one, we're gonna add 360. So 50 plus 360 is 410, and that's your answer, and you're done. Again, next one we're gonna do the same thing. It's asking for a positive angle, and they give you that 110. So you're gonna do 110 plus 360, and that's going to equal to 470. And you're done. All right, over here, it's finding two positive angles. That is coterminal to negative 30. So we're going to do negative 30 plus 360. That's going to give you 330. And since it's asking you to find two of them, we're going to get our answer, 330, and add 360 again to it. And that gives you 690. Now those are your two answers, or your two coterminal angles to negative 30 degrees. All right, the next one, it's asking you to find one negative angle that's coterminal to 30 degrees. So we're going to take our 30. And since, well, whenever we're finding the positive ones, we're just adding by 360. To find the negative ones, you just got to subtract by 360. So there's just going to be 30 minus 360. And you could just do this on the top of your head, or just put in your calculator. 30 minus 360 is just negative 330. And you're done. You should have degree signs. All right. Next one, it's telling you to find one negative angle that is coterminal to 150. You're going to do 150 minus 360, and that gives us negative 210. And that's it, and you're done. Next one, again, find one negative angle. That is coterminal to 415. So we're going to do 415 minus 360. And that's going to give you 55. Now, 55 is not negative, so we're going to have to subtract again by 360 because we're finding the first one that's negative. It could be any that's negative, but I'm just finding the first one because it's the fastest one to find. So 55 minus 360, that's going to give you negative 305. And that's your answer. All right, the radian ones are a bit harder to do. You can do this in two different ways. You could either change it from radians to degrees, find your answer, like the positive and the negative one, or a positive one or just a negative one, and then change it back from degrees to radians. Or what you could do is just find out what 2 pi is in terms of that radian. So like in terms of that unit, maybe sometimes it's nice where you just have to add 2 pi or subtract 2 pi. Sometimes it's harder because you have fractions that they give you and you have to find out what the 2 pi equivalence is and then add that and subtract that, which is the easier way to go and is the way that we're going to do it here. So over here, it's telling us to find a positive and a negative one. So a positive and a negative angle. That is coterminal to pi over 6. So first things first, find out what 2 pi is, like the equivalent to that in 6. So you're going to do 2 pi. It's just going to be the same thing. Since you have fractions, the way to find what the equivalent is, the bottom of the fraction is just going to change the same, stay the same, I mean. The way to find the top part is super easy. Just multiply your bottom number by 2. So 6 times 2 is 12. So the top part is 12 pi. So this is what we're going to be adding or subtracting to our angle to find the coterminal ones. So first one is going to be pi over 6. And the first one we're going to do is the positive one. So we're going to add to the pi over 6. On the bottom, since there's a 6, it stays. Because whenever you add fractions, if they have the same denominator, the denominator stays. The top ones is just super simple math. Just start adding. So what's pi plus 12 pi? If you don't know what that is, just remember that this pi has a 1 in the front, and 1 plus 12 is 13. So that's just 13 pi. Now we're going to do the same thing, but with, what's it called? The minus 1, because we have to find a negative 1. So minus 12 pi over 6. Again, 6 is going to stay on the bottom because they both have the same denominator. And now over here on top, 1 pi, again, pi minus 12 pi. This pi has the 1 in front. If you just don't know, it's just not explicitly shown. 1 pi minus 12 pi, or negative 11 pi. And that's your answer. So again, super straightforward once you get to this step. I think finding the 2 pi like equivalents of that in terms of that fraction would be the most difficult part. Other than that, it's pretty simple. All right. So the next one, over here. Yeah, first step you want to do is find your 2 pi equivalents. So the fraction on the bottom, the number on the bottom, your denominator is just going to stay the same. To find the top, it's just 2 times the bottom. So 2 times 2 is 4, and it has a pi. All right, so it's asking us for this question to find a positive and a negative. So we're going to do our number, which is 11 pi over 12, 11 pi over 2, I mean, and we're going to find the positive one first. So you're just going to add 4 pi over 2. 11 pi plus 4 pi is 15 pi, and then 2 stays on the bottom. So boom, done with that one. Now we'll find the negative one. So we have to subtract by 4 pi over 2. So the 2 on the bottom stays. 11 minus 4 is 7 pi. Is this number negative? No. So we got to subtract again by 4 pi over 2. So the 2 on the bottom stays. 7 minus 4 is 3. So you have 3 pi. Is this negative? No. So you got to subtract again by 4 pi. 2 on the bottom stays. 3 minus 4 pi is just negative pi. And that there is your negative answer. And you're done. So we finally got to a negative number. Sometimes it is a lot more work like this one, where you have to keep on subtracting, or adding until you get to a negative, finally get that negative coterminal angle or that positive coterminal angle. But again, super straightforward once you get this part. I think this part's gonna be the most difficult, finding your 2 pi equivalents. All right, last two for the notes. And then I might not do today's worksheet, see how I feel. So Again, it's telling you to find a negative and a positive one. And you have 2 pi over 3. You're going to do 2 pi over 3. Or first thing actually you should be finding is your 2 pi equivalents. So the bottom number stays the same. To find the top, you just multiply by 2. So 2 times 3 is 6. So 6 pi over 3. Again, 2 pi over 3. All we're going to do is be adding to find the positive one. So 6 pi over 3. They both have a 3 over on the bottom, so that's going to stay. 2 plus 6 is 8. So that's just 8 pi. Next one, you have 2 pi over 3. You're going to be subtracting by 6 pi over 3 this time to find the negative one. 3 stays. 2 minus 6 pi is just negative 4 pi. And that's it. All right, next one. It's asking us to find a negative and a positive one. Our angle is pi over 8. So you're just going to do pi, find out where your 2 pi is. So the bottom number on the bottom stays. The top is 8 times 2, so 16 pi. So it's going to be pi over 8 plus 16 pi over 8. And now we just got to add. Since they both have 8 on the bottom, that's going to stay. 16 pi plus a pi, it's just 17 pi. And now we just need to find our negative one. So pi over 8 minus 16 pi over 8. The 8 on the bottom stays. On the top, 6 pi minus 16 pi, which is negative 15 pi. And you're done. And that's it for the notes. Let me see how I feel about this worksheet. Um, I'm not gonna do that worksheet because I'm gonna let y'all do it. I do have the answers of the worksheet completed. If you want to check your answers, you can always check in with me. But I'm not gonna do it because I just don't feel like doing it. So that's gonna be all for the video. And then I'll just do only last video that I'm gonna be uploading today is gonna be the Tuesday notes. All right.